Hello and welcome to Reinventing Mental Health, where we explore root causes for mental health and functional solutions. Today, I have with me my friend Danielle, and how do you say your last name?
Maceri. It's
Okay.
Italian, so most everyone gets it wrong. So
She is a functional health coach and a nutritionist. So thank you so much for joining us today.
yes, thanks for having me.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. Well, I love health. That's probably the most relevant and notable thing for this conversation. I've been into health and wellness since I was in college. Always just found it fascinating, the human body.
Mhm.
And so I think just over the years, slowly on this journey of learning more and more how it works for us and with us. And yeah, it's just been a really cool experience since those college years, which that was back in like 26 to 2010, 2011. And that was really, I feel like at the time when health and wellness was becoming more trendy. It was cool to be healthy and well during that time. And so, yeah, I'm just a health nut, you could say.
Okay.
Love it.
Have you had any personal health journeys that brought you to this time?
Good question. I feel like that's kind of the typical. During those years, I was dealing with a lot of stress, a lot of mental health, emotional health issues. I grew up with an alcoholic parent. And so that was taking its toll. And physically, from all of the stress, I started losing a lot of weight. My relationship with food changed negatively. There's actually a term now for it. I'd say I was experiencing orthorexia, which is just obsessed over everything I was putting into my mouth. Lost a lot of weight, became unwell. And I knew I couldn't live like that for very long. Felt like I was dwindling away. And so I started seeking natural methods and ways to try to build myself back up. And that was like my early 20s. So yeah, I definitely was like, I'm way too young to be feeling like this. So
we hear that a lot. And it seems like inside of the functional health space, almost everybody that I run into that is a practitioner had a health journey that led them to this field.
Exactly. Right.
So it's always interesting to hear all those stories.
Yeah. And to add to that too, aside from myself, just my family, like my grandmother, I was very close with her. And during those years of learning, like what coincided was my grandmother was diagnosed with colon cancer. And she was like in her early 80s, and she chose to go the more conventional medicine route. They ended up deciding to take out like a lot of her colon, and she contracted a bacterial infection in the hospital and passed like 2 weeks later. It just happened so fast. But during that, that time with her, just realizing that that it could have been prevented. I was able to really see like her lifestyle, the food she was eating, her mindset. She spent a lot of time alone. And so that also sparked passion within me to like, maybe she wasn't in a place to receive that. And I was really young. So taking advice from your, really young grandkid, there's just something there to that. But knowing that was what I wanted to do for the people that were ready and in that place to heal, that wanted to pursue how to learn to prevent disease and illness as much as they can. Like I wanted to help those people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you have any area of specialty like women, men, reproduction?
Yeah.
What do you like to focus on?
I know that we're kind of told in this profession to find something to specialize in, but I've just kind of remained open to whoever comes my way. Like I'm kind of seeing it as it's meant to be. And so for right now, like that's been working. It's been a mix of men and women, surprisingly. A lot of men lately, which I'm really finding I enjoy working with men. Yeah. When they're ready to do something, it takes them a while to get to that point. But when they're ready, it's like they're very committed and it's just kind of like a straight path. And so that makes it a little bit easier for me in a sense. But I have not worked with many children. I did have a teenage client and I enjoyed that. But I would like the chance to work with more kids. I mean, I have 2 daughters at home, so I guess I get some practice there. But but yeah, I would say I'd be open to working with children also. So maybe that will end up at some point, coming to fruition.
So what are patterns that you're seeing right now for reasons why people are seeking care? Because we tend to see things in our counseling and coaching office. It seems to like come in waves.
Oh,
Like we'll
sure.
have waves of, anxiety, and then waves of depression, and then waves of one of our recent waves was actually we just got a whole bunch of foster kids. And it was
Interesting.
bizarre. Like they just coming in large groups. So are you noticing patterns like that too in the health space?
Well, I would say that, most people who are coming to me, the course of action is very similar. And so a lot of these people, they're just sick and tired of being sick and tired. Maybe they've been diagnosed with something with like an autoimmune condition. Maybe not. Maybe they just, stubborn weight loss, whatever it is, they just feel stuck. So, when I think of being stuck emotionally, even too, like we think of the liver. And so liver detox is where I start everybody, especially in today's culture, the liver it gets hammered. And so like relentlessly, right?
Yep.
And so just doing that alone, I mean, it's been amazing to see the change in people. They get immediate relief, like within the first couple days. And that's in every way, physically, mentally, emotionally, things start purging, coming out. They feel more able to process those hard emotions or that thing they've been stuffing down when they start nourishing their liver more. So that's, I mean, literally everyone I see that's the first step. Beyond that, I would say gut health.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Gut health. I mean, it's most everyone has yeast overgrowth with all the labs I've ran, and probably like 70-80% of bacterial overgrowth. And so, rather than throwing more supplements at them right away, although we will have them, do some that we see they're deficient in, there's an immediate need, but we need to get the gut healthy. And so, so liver and gut, those are like the two main things with pretty much everybody I see.
So for our viewers, most people think of the liver and they just think, okay, it helps us when we're drinking.
Yeah.
What are its actual jobs? What are all of its health roles? Because most people don't even actually understand what the liver does.
Well, there's so many. I mean, there's so many functions, and honestly, I can't pretend to sit here and like I've memorized all of them. I can just tell you what I've been taught is that if the liver health starts to go, the rest of the body follows. So it is that important, and it should be priority. One of the big things it does is filter our blood, and very quickly. It's under 10 minutes. It filters like every drop of blood in your body. So that's pretty amazing in itself, if you think of it. Another thing is it helps with clearing out hormones, extra hormones, so that they don't start recirculating back into the body. And a lot of, I say a health crisis we have going on right now is estrogen dominance, like not just in women, but men also. And so a big part of getting to the root of that is ensuring that the liver is able to detoxify those extra hormones out. So that's probably another, those are probably the two biggest things that come to mind, is it filters your blood and it helps with hormones. But I know there's more, so for sure.
So going further into that the hormone conversation, and the fact that we do have such high levels of estrogen right now, like even inside of the mental health space, when we see men that come into our office and they're dealing with depression and anxiety, and we actually run a hormone panel, what we see, your testosterone is out of balance and your estrogen is really elevated.
Right.
What do you think it is that's causing this imbalance that's occurring right now?
Well, it could be a lot of different things, but again, we're going to consider the liver and also gut health first and foremost. A lot of the hormone production happens in the gut. So those are the two first places to look. And then also lifestyle habits, stress, like for men, kind of looking, testosterone. It's like, are they implementing things in their lifestyle to help build testosterone levels? As far as getting rid of the extra estrogen, I would say liver. But but for men, just being sure to support activities that build testosterone, and maybe getting them on an herbal supplement to help boost it temporarily, maybe for like 12 weeks or so. Just herbs, to naturally kind of boost that. And then stress management. Yeah. So just really looking at their life and what's going on, what are their main stressors, start trying to help their nervous system get out of that fight or flight, into that parasympathetic state so that the body can find balance. It's really hard, if not impossible, to do that when the body's just constantly in, that stressed out state. So, and I think sometimes, like, we don't personally, I've been finding this, like, we don't realize we're in it.
No,
Even if
I talk to a lot of people and, where we're talking about, it could be men or women.
Yeah.
And we're talking about, why do I feel so anxious? Why do I feel so depressed? And we start talking about all the things that are happening in their lives.
Mhm.
And okay, so what are you doing for stress reduction? But I'm not under stress.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
everything that you just listed off, those are all stressful things.
Right,
So you
right.
are under stress.
Yes. Yeah.
Sometimes people don't identify.
Right.
The
Well,
stressors.
and I've done 12-step recovery programs, and the first step is dealing with maybe denial. And so everybody's experienced it at some point or another. And I think it's just a coping mechanism, I'm sure. I've been there as far as realizing the severity of the stress that I've been under and things, because we've got to, we wake up, God allows us to wake up that day. We've got to make it through the day. How do we do that? Sometimes it's just being in denial about stuff. So, but it's good when a person finally, is ready to see that. Yeah.
When you're doing all of your functional testing, are you noticing that cortisol levels are really high for a lot of people?
Not necessarily. Actually finding at night, yes, elevated at night. And a lot of sleep issues. But during the day, most people are kind of, there's 7 stages of HPA axis maladaptation. And so I'd say most people I'm finding are somewhere between stages like 4 and 6. I don't know that I've ran into anybody who's just totally plummeted, but total cortisol output at that point is usually lower than it needs to be. So it's just like the body has been trying to compensate for the prolonged stress, but it's just kind of ran out of energy, ran out of juice, depleted stores. And so at some point, the body just kind of, it's just like a vehicle, right? Runs out of gas, it's going to stop. So that's where at least people that are coming to me, where I'm finding most of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get people who always want us to do cortisol tests, and while we can do them, if they've had prolonged levels of stress, I don't always find that they're completely accurate.
Yeah.
And a lot of people also don't realize cortisol has a role. We do want it.
Yes.
We just don't want it constantly bombarding us.
Yeah, exactly. Having too low cortisol is almost, I don't want to compare, but you've been experiencing stress longer if it's low. And so, it's going to take more work to almost like imagine like pulling yourself up out of a hole kind of. And you just have, so at that point, I just tell people, look, let's take this in 3-month increments and hope that like every month you get like 10% better. And some people like heal really fast. I think they were just needing reassurance and support and like a plan. And things psychologically like begin to change really quickly. And then other people, it just takes a little bit longer. But having a realistic timeline goal of like, okay, you've gone this long and your body's been enduring this level of stress for this long, like just try to be patient, and as you heal. But yeah, people have really high cortisol. Their body's in that first stage, right? Of just that alarm stage of stress. So that just some calming herbs, maybe a good nighttime routine usually can kind of help start to work on that a little bit before it gets to those later stages, hopefully. So, yeah.
And when you're doing the gut testing, like we're finding not only the yeast overgrowth, but I've been finding a lot of mold and strep in the intestines.
Yeah.
Are you coming across that too?
And with the test that I do, the organic acids test, that will show like indicators of potential mold. And I think on that form, at least the test that I do, it's more from food sources, which when I started learning how to read these labs, I was like, holy crap. I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess mold in food. Like I'd always imagined it being more of like the scary stuff, like behind the wet wall that you didn't know was there. And so it kind of even opened my eyes to that mold exposure is very prominent. Yeah, we don't realize.
We all experience it.
Yeah.
And we think, I'm buying clean food and I live in a clean place, but mold is everywhere.
Right. Right. Yeah. So that's another thing. We're bombarded with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So again, the liver, the liver's got to be supported, because if we're going to get any of this out, like, the liver's got to be working. So
Now, do you have a go-to liver detox, or do you use the same thing for everyone, or do you have a specific like program based on testing?
Yes to all of that. It's a program ideally based on testing. Some people can't afford it, right?
Yeah.
So we take that into consideration. Just kind of we can go off of symptoms to the best of our ability. But yeah, same program every time, because it's worked. Dr. Cabral, he's a naturopathic doctor. That's who I studied under, and he's got a whole line of supplements. And so everybody that has graduated under his certification just uses what he uses in his practice, and it's been great. So yeah. I've been pleasantly surprised at how well everything is formulated. It's very synergistic. So it's kind of reducing the amount of supplements that people are having to take, which is nice, because it still ends up sometimes being a lot, for a short amount of time to get somebody kind of back to equilibrium. And that's actually the name of the company. So Equilife, based on the word equilibrium. So just trying to find balance. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, is that safe to use in kids? Because we're running into a lot of kids that when we get some of the lab testing back, they actually have non-alcoholic fatty liver.
Oh, okay. Interesting. And again, I haven't worked with many kids, so that's really interesting to hear. But yeah, so he shares on how to dose children, and it's typically based on body weight, but age can come into factor too. And so you just kind of know those parameters. And typically with kids, starting slow is always good. And then you can always, like, if they seem to be receiving it well and there's potential for them taking a little more, could always kind of like stair step it. So yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good to know, because we're seeing an increase in that suddenly.
Okay.
With some of our functional testing, and unfortunately, I don't know the root cause outside of it's got to be something environmental or in the diet.
Yeah, my guess is probably just toxin overload in children, and obviously poor diet. It's both. It's got to be both. I mean, for sure. Yeah. But you're just saying, seeing it younger now. That's
I think our youngest client that we've tested was 6.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's really, really young. I've never gotten one that young before.
Well, I know that babies in the womb, they did, oh gosh, okay. There was a clinical study done. They tested and found an unreasonably like high amount of toxins already in the baby, the babies in the womb. And then when they came out, retested, and it was like a really high number also. And so that really made me realize the mothers, like what the mothers are passing down to the children. It's kind of like a snowball. And by the time the baby's born, the snowball is already pretty big as far as toxin exposure and overload goes. So yeah, I mean, it would make sense.
Because mom got a toxin load from her mom. Yeah. She got from great grandma. So we just keep passing it.
And that's emotional too.
Yes. I read a study, I can't remember if it said 12 or 14 generations of emotional
Oh my gosh.
down. And how can you even follow that back and figure out exactly what the root of it was?
Right. That's fascinating, but I believe it for sure.
Yeah. I had another question about the liver, and it just totally went out of my head. Okay. So
maybe it'll come back.
Oh, it had to do with jaundice when babies are born.
Oh, okay.
Jaundice most typically is tied with liver toxicity. Do you think that is an indicator that the parent should be looking at possible liver detox, not only for the baby, but for mom?
Yeah, I mean, that kind of makes me think, without being an expert in this specific topic, that the mother, it would have been ideal for her to have detox before the pregnancy. And that is the protocol for the work that I do. If someone comes to me and they're like, hey, I want to have a baby in 6 months to a year, what would you recommend that I do? A liver detox is absolutely one of those things. Yeah.
I feel like the number of babies, like when I'm doing an intake, because I specialize in kids 3 to 12, and when I'm doing an intake and I'm going down the questions that go back to conception, and we get to the jaundice question, almost every kiddo that has come into our office had jaundice when they were born. Okay,
interesting.
So there's some kind of definite tie between the liver and mental health symptoms.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, the liver really and the gut play together, right? And so does the spleen, all of it. But, the gut brain connection, it makes sense that once the liver becomes stagnated and congested and can't detoxify the things it needs to, I mean, things are just going to build up in the gut and the intestinal tract, which then is going to impact, brain health, of course. So again, it goes back to really stuck with me when I heard like liver is priority. And if it starts to go the rest of the body does. Yeah. It's just kind of like a slow decline. So, yeah.
Our bodies were put together so perfectly when any part of it starts to fail.
Yeah.
It has a cascade effect.
Absolutely. So. Yeah.
All right. So for any of our viewers who want to reach you, how would they contact you?
Yeah. Just go to my website. If you want to, look at, I've included like what I'm currently offering, prices, what it kind of feels like to work with a health coach. You just go to integratedcarehealthcoach.com. Or you can just reach out to me via phone. So 737-206-3300.
And I will make sure that I share all of her contact information when we post the video. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. This was great.
And thank you everybody for tuning in. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe.